Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Lab by Ecomcy, the place of everything related to e-commerce and Amazon. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring you a very special guest. His name is Jordan West, and he's actually the CEO of Mindful Marketing and the host of Secret of Scaling Your E-commerce Brand podcast. So the reason why I wanted to bring you Jordan today is because he has so many magic tricks in terms of advertising outside of Amazon, which is actually we were discussing before recording the podcast that guys, there is a world outside of Amazon. So don't think e-commerce is all about Amazon, right? So that's why I think today's topic will be very interesting. We're going to be talking about how you can scale your brand outside of Amazon. Yeah, can't wait. So Jordan, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's so interesting, like thinking about like, oh yeah, there's a world off of Amazon, because all of the stuff that we've been talking about with the brands that that we work with at our agency and on our podcast is, hey guys, there's also Amazon. Remember, right?
The other
So
way
it's kind of
around.
the opposite of like, oh hey, you have a strong brand, go on Amazon, right? Like it's where so much stuff takes place, right? So I am a huge believer in building a brand off of Amazon, but also using Amazon as a sales channel. I really truly believe that there's some incredible synergy that can happen when it comes to both of those.
Yeah, can't wait definitely to discuss those things. I think sometimes Amazon sellers get into this tunnel vision thing that the only thing they can do to grow is PPC in Amazon. That's it. So it will be interesting to see how we can bring some of your tricks here and help expand outside of Amazon, right? However, before we jump into that topic, which is very interesting for sure, I want to give you a few minutes so you can introduce yourself. I know you have a very interesting story, how you jump into the commerce, your businesses, and we can go from there, yeah?
Yeah, that sounds great. So I started in business when I was, I think I was 22 or 23. I should really get the number down right. But I was a paramedic at the time. And I was looking through Craigslist, looking through some postings, and I saw a restaurant for sale. So it was a chain restaurant that I knew.
Okay.
And there was 3 of them for sale. And I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Like, why are all these for sale? And so I looked into it, and their parent company was going through bankruptcy. And I thought, you know what? What's the worst case scenario? Like maybe I'll buy one of these. It was only $30,000, and I knew to like start a new one was about $300,000. And so, 23 years old, I kind of scraped together everything I had. I took out a line of credit, just fully like to test this out, right? And so I bought the business, and day one, we're waiting there. I had all the previous numbers, and so day one, 11 o'clock rolls around, and the store opens, and no one's there, and then 12 o'clock, no one's there. And then 1 o'clock, my parents roll in, and I'm like, oh no, like this is bad. This is really bad. And so we actually ended up throughout that time more than tripling the sales in the 5 years we were there. And that's really where I started to cut my teeth in marketing, right? And getting people into a restaurant is a heck of a lot harder than getting people to a commerce store. It is really hard to get people to come in and then continue to come in, right? Because one little thing, one thing's wrong with their burrito, and they're like, I'm out. I'm not going back to that place, right? Because there's so many different places to go. So that
it's funny that actually, sorry for interrupting. It's funny that you bring this to the table, because we always hear this complaint in the e-commerce space that they say, oh, you need so much money for advertising. It's so difficult and everything. But guys, it's nothing. You can't compare that to opening a physical location, opening a restaurant. It's so much easier, but people can't understand that. But yeah, sorry, continue. Just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, exactly. So throughout all that time, we ended up, 23 years old, 5 years went through that, didn't really make any money. In fact, probably lost between 100 and 150,000. You guys can tell I'm not like a details oriented person. I just kind of ballpark, somewhere in there.
That's fine. Don't worry.
So throughout all of that, my wife and I had our first child, and she was a fashion designer, and she decided to start making some leggings for our kids or for our first daughter, because she couldn't find leggings that would actually fit over top of cloth diapers. Yes, we were trying cloth diapers at the time. That was interesting. That was the worst decision, maybe the best and the worst decision, because we came up with these leggings that actually fit over top of cloth diapers, because it was a huge issue that people were trying to solve. And so we made sure that there was that extra diaper room, and we went to some markets and sold them there. We generally sell out every time. And it was awesome. We're like, wow, this is great. And then we had our first phone call from a store about 3 hours away from us, and they made a $500 purchase order. And we were like, whoa,
Wow.
this is incredible. This is incredible. And that was kind of the birth of the company. And since then, we're now sort of mid seven figures. We're actually doing our first fundraise right now with that company. We've never done that
Wow.
before, which is
Congrats
really,
on that. Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
thanks. It's 4 brands now. Since then, we've purchased. We've got a lot of different things going on, a lot of different companies now. So we've got some companies down in the States as well. Really, my main job now is just kind of managing our leadership teams and then having vision on what to
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
Also, throughout all of that, my wife and I realized that it wasn't awesome working day to day together all the time, and I was really good on the marketing side. So I was like, oh, maybe just go do some marketing consulting with people. And so that sort of snowballed into an agency
Yeah.
where we now serve generally sort of 7 to 8 figure kind of clients with everything off of Amazon. So it was actually formerly Mindful Marketing. We ran into a bit of legal trouble with our name, so we're actually now
really?
Upgrowth. Yeah, so we're now
Okay.
Upgrowth Commerce.
I
So if
see.
you guys search, so again, anything off Amazon, we're really strategically focused. We hire literally the best people in the space right now
I love
to run at our agency and for our brands. So our agency helps out with the brands as well, and
Yeah.
it is phenomenal. There's so many times that I go into the room with them and I'm like, man, you guys are so much smarter than me. It's
And I think
incredible.
that's the best thing you can do. I mean, I think the best thing to grow in a business, you should always hire people that are smarter than you. You shouldn't be the smartest guy in the room for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, totally. If so, then you're in the wrong room, right? I love when I
Yeah.
have those conversations with people and I'm like, man, you're just at a different level than me. Thank you. Like, this is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that journey. I mean, it's
Mhm.
great to see how you've been transitioning through so many different areas during your life. So, but definitely, it's very similar to me how you landed into the agency space. It was similar to me. I have my own brand and everything, and I did the same. Oh, maybe there is a need for services. Oh, let's do an agency, and I went from there,
Yeah.
which is great. So awesome. So I think now let's start transitioning into today's topic, which is how we grow a brand outside of Amazon. I know every single time we touch this topic in the Amazon space, everybody say, no, Amazon is the place to be. Amazon is the place to be. They don't want to listen to you. They get crazy. They start crying. But the reality is, I know there's so much potential outside of Amazon. It's just that people don't want to put the work, right? That's the reality. So that's why I think I would like to touch today is we can start with the benefits, right? Why somebody should start diversifying outside of Amazon, because we know there are risks involved. We know that realistically you don't own your business. So let's start touching on that. And what is your point of view in there? Yeah.
Absolutely. So before we get into that, what I want to sort of preface this with and give a bit of a foundational
Sure.
idea here is that I think the problem generally with Amazon sellers, and guys, I know most of you on here are Amazon sellers listening to this, is that you think that a product is a brand. A product is
Yeah.
not a brand. A brand is a brand. A brand can make whatever it wants because it's a brand, right? What does Nike make? Everything, right?
Everything.
Like everything. But they serve a certain core customer, right? They serve a certain core purpose. That is the difference between a brand and a product brand, right? So most brands that are on Amazon are just products
That's true.
that they
Yeah.
have good branding for, right? So that's why I think that it's very difficult when people start to try to make that switch from Amazon, which is product based, over into the brand world, right? Because the brand world, you have to care about so many more things on the brand side, right? With growing, it's not just a matter of, and it was a couple of years ago with Facebook, right? Before iOS 14.5, really, you could go on with a product,
Easy. Track
throw it in
everything
the,
basically. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Throw it in the Facebook slot machine and you're golden, right? That is not the case anymore, guys. Now, with Performance Max, in my opinion, on Google is the new slot machine. It is the most phenomenal advertising system I have ever seen in my life. I was lucky enough to get to talk to Qasim Aslam last week, who is the expert. He runs the Perpetual Traffic podcast with Digital Marketer, and just an incredible mind when it comes to Performance Max. And like, guys, it's Facebook times 10 pre-iOS 14.5. I can't even, I could go off about Performance Max. Right? I won't, because I really want you guys to get this sort of foundational idea that brand is so important, right? So what does that exactly mean? Like, what it means is actually knowing your customer, not the customer that just buys from you on Amazon, because that actually might be different, right? They may actually be trying to solve a different problem than your customer off of Amazon, right? Your customer off of Amazon may actually just be following you because they love your style and your brand and what you stand for. So there's so many things to think about when it comes to building a brand off of Amazon. But then there's the incredible opportunities that happen off of Amazon, right? Like retail partnerships where you can get a $3 million purchase order just like that and blow up your brand that way. That's the difference, right? That's the big difference that I find between Amazon sellers and brands off of Amazon that then come over to Amazon. And yeah, some of them struggle, but a lot of them do incredibly well when they just move over.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's very difficult to make the jump, but once you do it and you do it successful, which I have seen a few brands doing, you can definitely blow up. Because if you're already doing well on Amazon, that means your product is already basically fulfilling a need. It's just a matter of now creating a community outside of Amazon and bringing the brand to the next level, right? So I think now my next question is just actually around that specific thing, community. I'm pretty sure that if you want to grow outside of Amazon, it's all about community. It's all about bringing that loyal fans that are gonna share your product, they're gonna tell your friends, they're gonna tell their family members, everything. And I think that's the tricky part, right? So I would like to get your take in here in terms of what usually would you advise for a brand that is very strong on Amazon. They already have an amazing product, but they have no presence out of Amazon. What should be the first few steps or at least tips you think would be useful for them?
Yeah, totally. So community is right? Like, and community, it's the huge buzzword in 2021 and 2022, yet I don't really see brands doing it. I don't see brands doing it and doing it correctly or doing it well. Lots of times it's just an afterthought. It's like, oh, we're going to build community. So what I hear, totally. Oh, it just kind of naturally happens. So I'll ask people like, oh, so what is your community? Oh, it's my email list. No, anything that is one to many is not a community. Your SMS list is not a community. One to many is not community at all, right? What community is, the magic of community is when you are no longer the speaker as the brand, when your people are the ones that are speaking between each other, right? When your community is the one that is actually doing the advertising for you. So examples of community examples of places where people would build these communities would be Facebook groups. I still think that it's a great place to build a community. Slack, great place to build a community, depending on your user base, if they're used to Slack or not. Also, Discord is another great place to build a community. But what is this community like even about, right? So, so if you're a brand and people already know you as a brand, you potentially can build a community. Two of the brands that we own actually have their own communities just built around the brands themselves. People love the brands so much. Now, not every Amazon seller is going to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Especially so if they have a product that's met a need, you then need to reverse engineer and find out who your avatar is, right? Who is the perfect person here and how can I serve them, right? How can I build a community that they actually want to be a part of and isn't just another Facebook group that actually serves them and they're able to interact with other customers. And then as the halo effect, we're actually going to get business from that. That is the key, right? Is finding out what that is and what that problem is that you can solve to build the community around. And that's going to be different for every single brand out there, right?
For sure. Yeah, I think 100% with you on this, and I think just last point around that it depends on the brand as well. I think it's also important to bring to the table the point that realistically most products right now on Amazon, they are not ready to make the jump, right? I think it needs to be very strategic, and you need to how to do it properly, because I have seen also this mistake happening a lot, that they are very young product in Amazon, they haven't still built a real brand awareness in Amazon even. And they try to diversify their budget to think, doing also Facebook, Google, their own website, and then nothing works, right? So I think to clarify this point is, usually for the clients you have worked, which I'm pretty sure maybe you have some that have done that jump from Amazon outside of Amazon, when do you think, what are some of the facts or points they should start seeing on their business that you say, you know what, I just start jumping outside of Amazon?
Yeah, totally. So first of all, if you're just a single product centric brand or company, it's not time to jump off of Amazon. It's not time to move over. If you have hundreds of reviews, right, on your products, and people are absolutely loving your products on Amazon,
Yeah.
maybe it's potentially time to test the waters, right? Maybe it's time to test the waters first with another sales channel, right? Maybe it's not just moving straight to direct to consumer, right? Maybe it's time to go into wholesale. Maybe that's the jump, right? I don't think that it's necessarily just a jump straight from Amazon into direct to consumer, because it's so different, right? People who are searching on Google are not nearly as likely to convert as somebody searching on Amazon. It's just they're just looking for a product. Now, what you can expect when you create a direct to consumer brand is way higher average order value, right? People are going to be buying multiple products, especially in apparel, right? On Amazon, generally they're buying one product, right? They're buying one product. Awesome. Our margins are pretty low on one product. But as we scale that up, it's absolutely incredible, right? And so, all of our companies, one company in particular, our average order value is $130. Well, that's incredible. I can afford to spend a lot of money on marketing to get that $130. So that's those are some of the benefits that you get when you move over to be a product-centric brand. Now, the way that I would start if I was first on Amazon is I would set up a simple Shopify site, and then I would start just running Google. So I'd start running Google Performance Max the entire time. I'd try and get as much data into Performance Max as I could. And that would be the place that I would start, rather than, the old way was build an Instagram page, build a Facebook page. Well, first it was build a Facebook page and a following, then build Instagram, and then, whatever else from that point. That is not the way to do it anymore. That is not the way to build a brand anymore. I would first start with actually getting sales through Google.
That's right.
And then sure, set up your social platforms. That's awesome. TikTok for sure. Start on TikTok. But it's just, there's no real simple answer when it comes to this.
Yeah, it's difficult for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. I also think that you mentioned something interesting, which is the expectations, right? I think Amazon sellers have also the issue that as soon as they launch a product, they want to see sales day one, because the PPC give them sales conversion usually in Amazon much higher than Google, as you mentioned. So I think one big mistake when people also do the jump, which maybe you can touch on this, is that the thing, they're going to turn on Google ads and they're going to get the same amount of return on the advertising that Amazon. And realistically, at the beginning, it's not like that, right?
Exactly. So this is the way that I like to picture it, right? Is Amazon is the short game, right? Amazon is awesome for the short game, and incredible. I mean, guys, there's businesses that we look at that are doing, $10 to $20 million a year on Amazon, and awesome. That's incredible. The problem is tomorrow that could be gone, right? Amazon could create an Amazon basic version. Yeah,
that's it.
And you're gone. You don't own any of that, right? You are at the whim of whatever the CEO's name is now, not Jeff Bezos, whatever his name is. Andy something. You are at their whim at any point, right? That's why I build brands off of Amazon and use Amazon as a sales channel, right? That's the reason why I make sure that the brand is super big and built off of Amazon, because I know that even when iOS 14.5 happened, which maybe lots of you don't realize how, what that did to us off of Amazon.
A lot of issues.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it for a while there, quadrupled. People were saying a 30% rise in customer acquisition costs. No. It was a quadrupling of customer acquisition costs. People don't realize how brutal it was. Now, the good news is that we've actually solved that now, right? All of that is almost back to normal with some of the different channels and some of the different measurement tools out there. But it was incredibly hard for a lot of us. And that's probably why you've seen so many of us hop onto Amazon as another channel.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah, it was amazing. I remember people were so scared with what was going to be the future after that. Yeah, but nice. So I think now I want to start jumping into another very interesting topic, which I know you have a lot of experience, and it's something actually I haven't heard before. And I think a lot of people are going to find interested, which is doing gated launches, right? So I have maybe an idea how it works, but realistically it's also something new for me. So it would be nice you can explain it and what are the benefits of doing launches with that methodology. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So before we do that, I'm going to actually look at my phone right now because we at one of our brands are doing a gated launch right
Oh,
now, and we're an
awesome.
hour into it, and we are at $27,000 in sales.
Wow.
So it
That's very
works.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could show. I guess I could show you on the screen here, but
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fine. No.
Yeah. Hopefully you believe me. So yeah, so $27,000 of sales in the first hour. So obviously, this is something that actually works, guys. It's an incredible. It's just an incredible strategy that we've been using for the past few years. So the whole idea is that I'll work backwards here. So first of all, you have to have a community to be able to do this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You have to have people who actually love your brand and want to bang down the door to purchase your items, right? That is the very first step of all of this, is that you need to have a brand that people absolutely love.
Okay.
So if you don't have that, don't do a gated launch.
Yeah.
So once you create this community, the whole idea is trying to give your VIP members some kind of perk that is not a discount, right? So what we like to do is we like to do early access to certain drops. So today was actually early access for a sale. And so with the sale this morning, we gave 1 hour early access to our VIPs. So our VIPs are anybody who's in our VIP group, right? And so that's where the community comes in, and anybody who's on our SMS list. So the reason why I include the SMS list on there is that we don't send out a lot of notifications on there. We really do try and treat it like a VIP channel. We try not to send out too much. And so, so during gated launches, we give them the passwords. We actually have the entire website password protected, right? Wow. So when people actually go to the website, nobody can enter except people who know the password. And then we give our community the password. So the great thing is our conversion rate during this time just absolutely skyrockets because people are able to go onto there, put in a password, which is a little micro commitment, right? That password is like, okay, now I'm in.
I really want to buy.
Yeah, totally. and then there's this fear of missing out, of being on the website and being like, oh my gosh, okay, do I have, am I going to be able to check out? Oh, is this going to stay in my cart? So you get all of these sales throughout this time, and it's continued to work. So we had one gated launch. I believe this was last year. Where in the first 24 hours, we did $250,000 of sales.
Wow.
The first 2 hours alone was 100,000, and that was for a new product launch. So no discounts, no ads, no nothing. Just
that's crazy.
Incredible. Yeah.
And this thing, just to understand, so people can understand how these launches work. You do it once a new product goes out, or this is something you will do periodically on the brand cycle? How usually you structure that?
Yeah, so I like to use it for new product launches for sure, right? Especially if we have a small amount of product, we'll first launch to our VIP group. And then we'll also do it for big sales as well. And so that gives them the chance to be able to shop before anybody else.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I bet this definitely builds this culture, basically behavior building within your community, that they know that the only way they can get specific products is to be part of the community. Then that makes the community bigger, and then it's a snowball effect that goes from there, right?
Totally. And then they all talk to each other, right? And tell each other how much they love our brand, and we don't have to do any of that advertising for them, right? And then we use the tens of thousands of people. And we've in the past, I don't know how many years it was, we've had 100,000 purchases, right? Like, it's a lot of customers and a lot of customer data. And so we use what they tell us as in our marketing language, right? There's three things that people, with this particular brand, 3 things that people tell us all the time. It's quality, it's soft, and it's made in Canada. People love, those are the 3 things they just consistently talk about. And so we use that in our marketing language, and it works.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. And it's also great that you're touching on SMS, right? So this is something I feel is so powerful, and so many people is not using, especially outside of Amazon. So can you briefly also touch on some of the strategies how a brand outside of Amazon will use that, and if you actually find it more beneficial than using email marketing nowadays?
Totally. So I actually picture email marketing and SMS completely different, right? They're two totally different things. SMS is not going to take over email marketing, right?
Okay.
I actually don't picture them in the same, like, they're not in competition with each other.
They don't compete. Okay, I see.
Yeah, they're actually 2 different marketing channels, right? So SMS is incredible for short punchy, go to the website, right? Short little things. You're not building a lot of community. You're not telling people a lot of stuff on SMS. Now the SMS providers want you to. They want you to send
yeah, for sure.
They want you to send big lengthy SMSs with pictures and all sorts of stuff, right? That is not the way to go. Also, they don't perform as well, right? The short punchy SMSs always perform better. Keeping them under 160 characters, because you get charged for every SMS that you send out. It always works every single time. I inadvertently had the split test just recently because I have a new marketing manager, and he wanted to test out some of these images, and I was like, go for it, but I've already tested it and I know it's not going to work. But being a scientific sort of person, I'm like, yeah, go for it, test it again. And again, it performed about half as well as our normal SMSs do.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the words of Amazon is so interesting. I feel that's why I like to bring people like you on the podcast. I think it helps us to definitely open our minds that there's definitely so many things we can do. And I think that's going to bring me to my last question for today's episode, which is usually I like to ask, what is any other tip or learning thing that you can share with the audience, specifically on building a brand of Amazon, that you think we should consider, at least our Amazon sellers that are watching this today?
Yeah, totally. So I think that the big tip, and I touched on this a little bit before, is start to find retail partnerships, right? Okay. If you are a brand that has a lot of different products, a flagship retail is for you, right? That is when brands become real brands, right? When they have actual physical locations, or they partner with huge other brands. If you're in sporting, get into Dick's Sporting Goods, right? If that's a possibility. That's how you become a real brand that is then purchasable. Right now we've been in this funny phase with roll-ups, especially in the FBA space.
I know.
I don't think it's always going to be like that. I don't think you're going to see those 4 to 5x multiples anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. People paying even sometimes 7 and 8. It was crazy. I know.
yeah, and now you see with the aggregators that they're struggling right now, right?
Yeah, going down.
Totally, because it was all forward. It was all this forward looking. So my recommendation is to create a business that has so many different channels. Right, that if one channel goes down, right? Because today, guys, if you're listening and Amazon goes down, you're done. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with all your inventory?
Yeah, nobody knows your brand outside of Amazon. That's it. Yeah,
totally. And now for any of you people off of Amazon, what happened in iOS 14.5 if that's all that you were doing? You're dead, right? So one of the brands that we bought last year, we bought them right in April, and they were off of Amazon. Luckily, 3/4 of the business was wholesale. Right.
Wow. Okay.
So on the opposite side, that brand at the beginning of the pandemic would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So diversify out your channels. It is, all the smartest investors always have a portfolio approach to everything that they do. It's just a principle I believe in. It's like anyone who tells me, no, just go hard on one thing, I don't believe, because it's actually not the way the world works.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
It's spreading out your risk. It's spreading out your tolerance. It's spreading out all of those things across all the channels. That's my biggest tip and recommendation.
Wow. Amazing tip. I think exactly the same. Thank you for sharing that with us. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So awesome, Jordan. Thank you very much for today. I mean, you shared so many things. I'm pretty sure Amazon sellers are gonna sleep tonight thinking about that, which is great. And I think before you leave, for sure, I would like to give you a few minutes so you can share how people can get in touch with you, your agency, and your podcast as well, how they can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So number one is, guys, I would love for you to have a listen to Secrets to Scaling Your E-commerce Brand. I really try and bring on the best and the brightest in the e-commerce space, everything off of Amazon. Every once in a while, I have some Amazon people on as well. But we really are trying to get those strategic and tactical episodes out there so people can start testing. So Secrets to Scaling Your E-commerce Brand. I would love if you guys would have a listen there. Second place that you can find me is on LinkedIn. I try to respond to all non-salesy
not spammy.
yeah. If you're gonna spam, I probably won't respond to you. But even with the kind of schedule that I have, generally I'll take a phone call with somebody for 15 minutes if
That's
you need
great.
a little bit of help there. So that is the second place to reach out to me. And then our agency. So we work with 7-figure plus brands off of Amazon, running all sorts of strategy. We're called Upgrowth Commerce. We have got, I would say, the world-class team
Awesome.
that is able to create strategy and creative and paid ads and copywriting and building communities and building ambassador groups and all of that stuff all tied into one. We really try to act as the fractional CMO for your company. So if you guys want to go to upgrowthcommerce.com, that's where we are there. And that's three. I don't think anyone can remember more than that. So secrets to scaling your e-commerce brand.
I'm gonna make sure to.
West.
Yeah, and thank you very much. I'm gonna make sure anyway to put all the links and everything in the description so people can find you. But
Awesome.
yeah, I appreciate it, Jordan. So hopefully I can have you in the next one. Yeah, it's been nice to meet you, man. Let's give in touch.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye bye.